going to be showing you how to make these Veggie Supreme Pizza Quesadillas. Delicious. But first, here's today's sponsor. This video is sponsored by the lovely Skillshare. Skillshare is an online learning community with thousands and thousands of creative, inspiring classes for curious people like us. You can explore new skills or just develop your existing interests, or even just get lost in your own creative flow. I recently took Yasmin Shane's course in writing for self-discovery. I'm always looking for ways to understand myself better and understand how to take my journaling a little bit deeper. She so beautifully shared her story and some really great tips. One of my favorite parts was when she talked about brain dumping and how it actually doesn't need to make much sense. All you have to do is put pen to paper and write whatever words come to your mind, and then after you can go back and connect the dots. So I definitely recommend trying out that one. Skillshare is curated specifically for learning, so the great news is there are no ads and they're always launching new premium classes so that you can explore and follow your creativity wherever it takes you. The first 1,000 of you that click the link in the description will get a 1-month free trial of Skillshare, so you can start exploring your creativity today. Hey everyone, today I'm going to show you a super fast meal. It can be for lunch or for dinner or even for breakfast. We are going to be making these veggie pizza quesadillas, and they are absolutely delicious and super easy to make. Bam, bam, bam. Let's do it. So for these pizzas, there are 3 steps. We have our veggies, our zucchini, good old pepper, some grated cauliflower, unexpected but very welcome. Cabbage, again unexpected but also very welcomed. And lastly, we have our good old olives. Then we have the sauce, where we're just going to add in some tomato, of course, and a lot of herbs. We've got oregano, basil, parsley. Listen, pizza and Italian food is all about the herbs, so we have to go large or go home. And lastly, we have cheese. Now I'm going to be using Miyoko's mozzarella cheese, but you can use any cheese that you want. Sometimes I'll use ricotta, but this cheese melts well and I absolutely love it. So first of all, let me tell you what we're going to do with the zucchini. It's pretty simple. We're just going to grate them up. Chop, 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 chop. Grate. I usually make this meal when I'm craving a pizza or something cheesy and pizza-y, but I've probably just had pizza a couple of days before, so I don't really deserve an actual pizza. So this is my go-to for a healthy version of your pizza. So next up, with the cauliflower, we're simply gonna take off all the leafy bits, then you're just gonna grate it up. This is a fully invented recipe because what I would do is, for lunches, I love having lots of vegetables. So I usually will take any veg I have. The fastest way to chop them or use them is to grate them. So when I'm running out of time for lunch, I'll grate up as many veggies as I have and throw in herbs and a little bit of cheese on top. So I thought, oh my gosh, this will be perfect to go inside a quesadilla. And so that's what we're doing. For the pepper, we're just gonna give it a good old chop. I chop them up pretty fine, slice it and dice it. Done. Now what we're going to do is saute the veggies with the sauce before we put it into the quesadilla. So I usually don't use olive oil to cook with if I'm cooking for a long time, but if I'm sauteing on not too high a heat, I will use olive oil, and I love the flavor of it. So we're going to chug in the olive oil. Olive oil at a high heat actually turns rancid, so there's certain oils have certain heat tolerances, and so they lose their valuable properties when you use them at high heat. So avocado oil, it's amazing because it cooks at a high heat, so it goes up to usually it says, but a certain degree, whereas olive oil has a lower heat tolerance. We're gonna add in our hing first, asafoetida, or my onion garlic replacement. And then we just chuck in the veggies. So we're gonna chuck in the cabbage, throw in the cauliflower, zucchini, and the peppers. We're going to throw in some salt to help these veggies cook. So this will probably need to cook for about 6 to 7 minutes at quite a medium to high heat. It doesn't need to be soggy, but you can keep them a little bit al dente. They'll cook a little bit more in the quesadilla. But cook this down and then we'll add in the sauciness. Our veggies are pretty much there. We're going to add in our olives. And then we're gonna add in all of our herbs. So I've got my dried basil. I like me some basil. Some oregano, or oregano, depending on where you're from. And some parsley. Now you can add in any of these fresh if you have them. I sometimes put in fresh parsley, chop that in. Always makes a difference when herbs are fresh. But sometimes, like me, your Whole Foods order misses them out or doesn't have them. So we're gonna use dried today. Smells like pizza. Minus the bread, the pizza smell comes from the herbs, like the smell of oregano and basil. Done, that's all you need. A lot of it's in the smell. So if you wanna trick yourself, this is the way. And then we're gonna add in some tomatoes. So these are strained tomatoes. So you can get crushed tomatoes, you can get chunky tomatoes, you can get whole tomatoes. I choose the strained ones, which is usually what you'll use to make sauce. Okay, so let this cook for maybe another like 2-3 minutes, just so that the tomato gets to cook in a little bit. Maybe I drizzle a little bit more olive oil over the top. Perfect. And just let that cook down a little bit more. And grab whatever wraps you want to use. Now I use almond flour wraps or sweet potato wraps. They're always gluten-free and I love the flavor of them. They go really crisp on the outside, but you can use a normal wheat flour tortilla too. Jay always says that to me. He's like, I don't think I've ever seen someone laugh as much as their own content as you do. Like that actually and I was sit there laughing. I don't know why I think it's just the ego thing. I must just think I'm so hilarious. Okay, cheese, simple, just grate it. If I'm feeling a bit cheeky, I'll add a bit of the cheese into the mix first, because then it allows it to get a little bit gooey inside. And then I also add a little bit more on top. So I'm gonna do that today for sure. Let's add a little bit of the cheese into here, because then you get the cheese top, bottom, and inside. It's a win-win-win. You can do it on any pan, non-stick pan. I'm gonna use my cast iron pan. What you can do, grab your wraps and heat them up. Okay, so heated up our wraps, throw in some of the cheese on the bottom. Go as indulgent or as cheeky as you want. So depending on how many wraps I want to have, I'll either load this up like crazy if I know I only want to really have 2 wraps, because obviously a quesadilla is 2 wraps, or if I'm planning on having a few, I'll spread it out between all of them, depending on how many I want to eat. A bit more cheese on the top, then throw on the wrap again. And then you're just gonna, either side, maybe a couple of minutes, you're gonna need, basically what you want is the outside to get super crispy. So we're gonna let that crispen up and let the cheese inside melt a bit. So one side, flip it over, the other side. Hey, that is the crisp, that is the browning we want right here. A+ for the browning. That's actually why I really love cast iron pots, although they can be quite a headache to clean and they don't have the same rituals as other pans when you're trying to clean them up. They actually cook very evenly and they get hot so fast and they maintain their heat. So they'll keep cooking. Like if you have something in a cast iron pan, it will stay warm for so long. So I really like it. And also you get a bit extra iron into your food when you cook with them. So I've heard. Okay, so you just saw how we make this pizza quesadilla. Now, as you can see, it's super simple and it actually is filled with so much goodness. Usually when I have pizza, I have to think about how I'm gonna balance it. I'm like, okay, if I wanna have a pizza, I need to have a salad on the side, maybe some steamed veggies. But this, you don't need to do that because it's all in one. And like I said, I have it for my lunch and sometimes I'll have it for dinner. I remember one time when Jay went away for a whole week, I ate it for dinner every single night and sometimes would have it for lunch and dinner. It's perfect mix of everything that you need. And you can always sub out the veggies for whichever ones you want. Mix it up, try different things. And if you do, let me know what worked for you. So before we take a bite of this deliciousness, say your prayer of gratitude, and you know what, take a moment before you eat to even think about what you're grateful for in the day. Whatever has led you up to this point to enjoy this meal, what is it that you feel happy about, that you feel grateful for before digging into your meal? So let's take a couple of seconds, that's all it takes. And connect to your breath. Your breath is actually the anchor between your body and your mind, so it helps you to become present in the moment. And when we're eating, it's good for us to get back into our body, bring our mind back to where we are so that we can fully appreciate and fully be present for whatever we're eating. So let's take a bite, shall we? Now let me tell you, usually with vegan stuff, you can't really feel the cheesiness, but in this one, I put a good amount of cheese in, I can see it already. It's the oregano, I'm telling you. Don't miss out on the oregano, otherwise you'll be like, this doesn't feel like pizza. But let me tell you, this I might go as far as saying sometimes I prefer this to pizza. So I hope you enjoy this recipe. Please let me know if you try it and give me your honest feedback. I might be a bit biased because I love myself. So if you actually want to give me feedback on it, please do. But I personally feel like you're gonna love it. I'm sending you all so much love and so much gratitude, and hope you have an incredible pizza-filled week. If you like this video, or even if you didn't like it at all, leave me a message anyway so I can get to know you just as you're getting to know me through all these videos, and we can build a loving, honest, conscious community together.